Yes, Queen. How are you?
I'm good. Am I pixelated still?
No, we had some issues with your internet. Wasn't great, but you look better now. It's good.
Okay.
All right, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm okay. I'm having some technical issues. My bathroom plug outlets went out and I did a whole circuit breaker. Like I was in like the 1920s, you
I was about
know?
to say, is there an actual switch? Were you working a
There was a
railroad?
split and I felt like it. I was like, ugh. I've done it 12 times. Nothing's moving.
Okay, just the idea of you working with electricity scares me. It scares us all, I should
It's
say.
bad. It's really bad. And I've made a work order for my apartment. So we'll see what happens. But I'm like, yo.
All right. Shout out to Shelly. She said hello to us. What's up, colleagues? Welcome to Friends from Work. I'm Al Jackson. Obviously, we're joined by our girl, Tory. Lots going on. Thank you for the love, Julia. I'm very happy to report I got my camera working, but I'm not using it today. That's why I still look like shit. Because you have to, when you have a Mac, I'll tell you, it's like you pay a ton of money for these laptops, and maybe I might start right here because this is my so over it, because this is something I'm just tired of dealing with. So Tori, let's start the show as I look for the thing.
Nothing's working today. Shelly had a problem. I had a problem.
I don't know what's going on.
Al has.
And now we're gonna. Okay, Tori, we needed a palette cleanser. I am so over these MacBooks. There's 2 ports.
Right.
I need to have my audio so I sound good for the colleagues. Very necessary. I also don't want to look like I'm being arraigned during COVID over Zoom. You can't have both. So you have to decide to either look terrible or sound terrible. It's like deciding to drink either before you leave the house or once you get to the date. It's going to be bad. You're either going to look like shit or sound like shit.
I know what
I've decided to look like shit today.
Well, we all agree. I'm just kidding.
That was really good. That was good.
I'm totally kidding. I got to be honest with you. You and I are in the same vein today. I am just over, like, I was listening to Esther Perel. I really recommend her podcast. And she was talking about how you need some like problems in your life. And right now my problem is technology. And she said it's all trying to make you feel better, but it ends up making you feel worse. And I'm just really frustrated with my electricity and my technology and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Does everyone get it?
I'm frustrated with you doing that. What are you doing?
I feel like I have a hair in my eye.
Is that? I don't think you do it by making a face that a creep in the 1930s would. Excuse me, lady, are you showering in there? Yeah, it was very strange. Technology is this thing that I think we want to have, all the good stuff and none of the bad stuff. I mean, technology does allow us to work. It allowed me to meet my girl, but that same app that allowed me to meet my girl allowed millions of people to be scammed. We as people, we keep just wanting to take the good stuff, and it's like a cafeteria with a mean lunch lady, and she has your tray, and so you're like, oh, fish sticks, I like those, and she gives you those, and you're like, I don't want beets, and she's like, well, now you're getting 2 scoopings. Beets are disgusting, by the way.
I completely agree, and I never have had a cafeteria. I've never had a lunch lady. I've always wanted a lunch lady.
So what did you do at lunch?
You were free to leave. So you could just go. Or you had a little paper bag.
What do you mean you're free to leave? Did you get fired every day? Did security walk you out?
No, we had open campus. They trusted the children.
And that worked out for you guys?
All of us. You didn't sign in. You didn't sign out. You just left when you wanted to go. You came back when you wanted to come in. In elementary school, we did not have open campus at all. But we would bring little baggies and have lunch. And there was no cafeteria. I never had a cafeteria.
Wait, so where would you eat?
in the classroom. We had homeroom, and you can go into each other's homerooms and socialize. In high school, yeah, mine was open campus. But in elementary school, we didn't have one. You just brought your lunch.
That is unbelievable.
Isn't
I
that
mean,
weird?
well, it's just kind of like if you think about the juxtaposition, because you were in DC, of shout out Gabrielle is the lunch lady. Yeah.
Nuh-uh,
And
what's
oh
that?
no, I think Gabriel was saying that he has a lunch lady. I thought
Oh,
he was saying he was a lunch lady. I was like, I don't know. Gabriel, we're not sure if I don't know if it's Gabriel or Gabrielle. I'm sure it's Gabriel,
I feel so bad I call them Gigi.
but I'm going with
I was in a private school, and yes, yeah, I was in a private school. It was
well,
like, yeah.
yes, Shelly, she was in a private school. And I mean, let me ask the colleagues this question before we get into our main story. Do you think that that could work for all schools?
No,
Because you have
no,
to think about, like, across the street, there was a black high school that had metal detectors. And think
I
about
know
the
it.
different experience you're having for 4 years, even though that you're the same age and the same age of mental development.
Totally agree with you. And there's also a food insecurity. Like everyone was just had a bag of food. What if someone like I went to school with didn't always have groceries? Like I kind of never put two and two together until later in life, but that's kind of messed up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a very, let's be honest, privileged, very academic, very Jewish. We were with the Obama kids. We were with the Chelsea Clintons. We were right next to Sidwell. So I just want to be clear about that. Like I recognize my privilege. I work really hard on my work ethic. That was bad. That was bad.
I
But
give you the privilege to redo that word. No one their
I
privilege for that.
but anyway, I just want to say, like, I understand my privilege and I work very hard to not be someone who's bratty at all. Judy always had sandwiches, a carrot, whatever, but she would draw on the bag. She was a little artist. So I had little penguins, little birds.
Were you like, Mom, less art, more Twinkie?
I never had Twinkies.
You've never had a Twinkie?
No, and I've always wanted to like, is it hard or soft? It looks soft, but I hear it can last forever.
It's soft.
Through a nuclear bomb, Twinkies can live.
Yeah, if you eat a hard Twinkie, you need to go straight to the hospital.
Okay, good to
Yeah,
know.
it's not good. So, all right, Tory, what are you so over, boo?
Just electricity, my plugs in. And I did the test, retest, but one thing blew the whole thing out. And there's two plugs, and I don't know what to do. And I did this thing.
But I know what to do. I need you to stop doing that because we're going to go to our main story because you led us right into it. All right, Tory, without knowing it, your beef with electricity is very much similar to Chip and Joanna Gaines. They they too want others to deal with life without electricity. So I need to know, and I need to ask you, I know that you're definitely going to watch, right? Because if we're going to watch this, like, we need to watch it as a show. Like, I need to know, are the colleagues going to watch it? I swear to God, I will watch it if y'all do.
Yeah, we will watch it if y'all do. Can someone just say they'll watch it? One person is enough for us. We're very easily swayed.
I need more than one. Let's go 4. At least.
So back to the frontier, you guys. It's about families going, it's like the Amish. We're going back to the Luddites and all that. Is anyone interested? They produced it. They're not in it.
Well, I kind of would be, but it just takes forever.
I know.
So I don't know. It looks like people are not.
No,
Megan
not
says it sounds really dumb. Julia wants to know, when is it on?
Sorry,
yes, this is why I ask you guys for your honesty. This is why there are things called focus groups.
Agreed.
There's some nerds behind a mirror, and they're like, trust me, these people we rounded up, big Chip and Joanna fans, and all they hear coming from that room through the mic is, F that. I'm not watching that. It's hard pass.
Hard
pass. That's what Michelle said. All right.
Okay.
I think you guys might have just gotten me out of the having to watch this, even though our own Erica Cobb has asked that we promise to watch it. So
she said we should promise, but neither of us are very interested, and seems I could care less about those two people.
Well, while we're having the discussion, before we go on to our first story of the day, our first story of the day, is there a show that we could watch as a show? and talk about.
That's so interesting. Is anyone oh, like Love Island? Is that on? Should we be watching
I
that?
think that just came on. I watched that last night. It was not great.
Okay. They're okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll play around with the idea, but Tory, we got some business to get to. And do you know what that is?
What?
It's a stat. It's for a nerd like yourself that says that half of America's murders go unsolved. Half.
Damn.
So it says the clearance rate, which is, the rate at which like they can say that we got to the bottom of this case and we found the guy that found the person that did the murder.
We get it, Al. We get it. We get it.
Is that 58%? And people are saying that's inflated. Our families being abandoned by the police because everybody knows I love a chance to talk about The Wire when I get a chance.
Yeah.
And remember, in The Wire, I don't want to give anything away, but there was a group of people that were killing people and they were putting them in this one house.
Mm-hmm.
When it was discovered that all these bodies were in this house, you would think, Eureka, we found it. End of TV show. But in real life, what they showed in The Wire is all the departments are like, we don't want that because you're going to take our clearance rate and we go from 13 unsolved murders to now 31.
Mm-hmm.
And then that falls on the mayor's head and that's it's all going to be used against you. You don't solve your crimes. So in a weird way, we've incentivized our police, Tory, to not even want to begin to even call something a murder because now they have to investigate and that doesn't work out.
Right. So what you're saying is the politics within policing have become so convoluted that we're now trying to just save the face instead of the force.
Yes. And also it's politics, but I think it is also money, honey. If you get disappeared, or maybe even if I was to get disappeared, because I do have a little bit of a name, if it made the news, maybe that would incentivize the police. But if you guys think about what was the Latina woman that was murdered at Fort Bragg, I want to say it was. Michael Dean, can you look that up? She had a famous case and the Army didn't investigate it. Mm-hmm. It's really famous. And it didn't investigate it, but what they didn't realize is that she had obviously an all Latina family. I'm like, oh, you haven't spent a lot of time around Latinas. They're not just going to take your like, oh, we can't find her. She left. They literally were like, she just left.
Yeah, right.
The family's like, would you get out of our face with that?
Right.
And Vanessa Guillen. Thank you. That's it. So famous voices in the Latino community, put that out on their Twitter, Facebook, and it galvanized community, and they found her. Mm-hmm. But unless you're, let's be honest, an attractive young woman, a rich young woman, a white woman or man from privilege, or a black person with notoriety, I don't know how hard the cops look for you. I think you need just like please.
No, I have to be very honest with you. Oh, Shelly said, my cousin was murdered of April last year. Not an effing thing has been done about it. Shelly, I completely hear you. That is horrendous. I do want to say, unless you have, I listen to a lot of Dateline, a lot of Snapped, a lot of 48 Hours, a lot of murder, true crime. I know a lot of you guys do too. But, and the one thing that rings true is, unless you have a very strong community around you that's going to rally the police, like unless they are knocking on the doors over and over and over and over again, or you have money, right? Or you're like Gabby Petito or like a blonde white woman, right? That went missing. You really don't get you don't get on top of the pile. So I just wanted to make sure people understood how that is. Someone also put in here that sexual assault cases. And I did want to say that rape kits are famously sitting on shelves. I think the majority actually of SA kits have not been looked at all. In fact, Kamala Harris ran when she ran for president, which we'll get into later with Biden. She ran on the entire campaign promise of getting through the rape kits. And I think if I'm a candidate, I would 1,000% go and say the backlog of rape kits, as if I were a woman and wanted to be pro woman, I would make that a priority. That's a huge issue for so many people. And the statute of limitations is up. It gets up for some people for rape. So I just wanted to bring that into it too.
Well, Tory, let's talk about the kits really quickly and then kind of get back to what we were talking about, because I think they're two sides of the same coin. Everybody, I'm sure, is like, well, why don't they go through I don't know if the SA kits and find the DNA and track these people down, because a lot of those people are upstanding men in the community now.
Right. Or they don't test them though, but they also don't test. They're just
That's why, because if they test and they go, oh, this guy's the mayor of blah, 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 this guy runs a multi-million-dollar lumber company, they don't want to go having to arrest him. Yeah. So the best thing to do is to not look. Yeah. We've seen this over and over with serial killers.
Yeah. But I gotta be honest, it's a lot of money. It's low income towns, small little towns that don't have the money to look at these rape kits. And it's absurd. I mean, that is absurd. And I agree with Julia, who said, then change the statute of limitations. There are some congresswomen and men that are trying to do that for certain SAs, but it is absurd. And same with murder. It has to come down to money. Money has to flood those police, because otherwise they don't have a cold case unit. You know what I mean? They can't afford that.
Well, and it's like, you have to think about, everybody has their feelings about the police. Yeah. With everything, Tory, I try and look at things in a very green and white basis. The cops, every department is different. They have a different level of funding, a different way that they allocate money. Mm-hmm. So they have to allocate however many detectives to go after and track down murders that they're trying to solve. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be, like anything else, a level of priority. Mm-hmm. If a doctor gets killed, that's going to be different than, somebody that was the hitman for a drug dealing cartel. Mm-hmm. They probably even know who did it, but they're like, oh, that person's going to get killed too. But if it's a doctor, that goes up in priority, because what happens? The citizens that vote for the mayor call the mayor's office like, are we letting doctors get killed in this town that you run, dog? And the mayor goes, hey, police chief, find this beautiful blonde, find this famous black dude, get this off the news. Mm-hmm. And if something's not on the news, you're not going to push the police department. They're just going to get, was it Shelly that just said that she said that her cousin was murdered? I want to make sure I got that right. Yes. Yeah. Well, again, Shelly, I don't have the word. I've had a friend that was murdered, and I think about him every day. So yeah, it's hard, and it's easy to become upset. But if you understand the mechanisms that push the levers to get things done, and especially in your case, Shelly, somebody, sis, that knows somebody. Every tie you have, use it. Every card you have, anybody, your neighbor that used to be a cop, use it. You got to put pressure on people, or nothing's going to happen, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. You got to be a PJ. What do I say? Pushy Jew.
Oh, can I be a pushy Jew?
Anybody can be a pushy Jew. And I most recommend it in the doctor's office, because sometimes you really have to be a pushy Jew about making sure you're getting your stuff looked at.
I didn't want to go on another tangent, but you mentioning that, my ex-wife, Jenny, my goal is to make enough money where I can send her around the country and teach, so she could literally teach other people how to advocate for a loved one.
It's terrible.
She changed Ford's life because she fought with the schools and just like, no, I looked it up. We get funding. You guys are supposed to pay for this. Yep. Julia, squeaky wheel. And it's easy to say that phrase, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but I don't think a lot of us in here want to be. We're probably all just chill.
I get that, but guess what? It's uncomfortable. It can save a life. And if someone says to you, I'm not going to do that test, here's the words you can say. Remember this, write it down. You ready? Then I need you to notate it in your notes why you're declining my request. And you just say that over again. I need it in your notes as why you are declining this test. And they then change. It's happened to me a million times. And I saved my mom once because of it. So be a pushy Jew. Thank you.
All right. That is a great transition. Being a pushy Jew. Now that we've gotten our first class in being a pushy Jew, let's talk about this, Tory. I consider Trump more famous than a president. He's just a celebrity from the 80s that's now the president. And that's why he got that intro. But we're going to talk about this Chiron that's under our name. Trump's 90-day trade deal is a disaster. And the only 90-day disaster I want in my life is Fiance.
You love that show. I know it's a good show.
I don't watch it anymore.
Okay. It is a good show, though.
You know what happened in 90 Day Fiance? I'm going to be real with the colleagues. The people on there became too cognizant that they were on the show.
Oh,
that's why I watch reality shows from like 2007.
Yeah,
because
I know
people didn't know anything. So they would just be like, shut up. It was just like how people really would respond. And now everybody, you can see them in the camera trying to mitigate them getting killed online. So they're like, I really think Tory is beautiful. Our date just did not cause me to want to call her again, but she's the smartest woman I've ever. And like in 2005, they'd have been like, and if I see her again and her brother, I'm going to take them both down. Like people talk crazy because they didn't know the internet was going to be a thing.
Totally agree.
It's a totally different world. So let's talk about this trade deal disaster. Tory, is it a disaster if there are no deals?
There's only 2, as Michael Dean so brilliantly said. So we thought we would get 90 deals in 90 days. We ended up getting the United Kingdom and Vietnam. That was it.
That's really all I wanted, though.
Yeah, those 2 were
That's how Trump will play it. Those are the ones we were going after.
So I do have a video of what Trump wanted to say about it. Let's take all a listen, colleagues, and you guys write in the chat what you think.
Mr. President, on tariffs, what happened to 90 trade deals in 90 days?
We've spoken to everybody. We know it's all done.
Well,
I told you, we'll make some deals, but for the most part, we're going to send a letter. We're going to say, welcome to the United States. If you'd like to participate in the greatest, most successful country ever. I mean, we're doing better than ever. I don't think, and you're going to see these numbers soon. We've never had numbers like this. We've never had.
There's such a tell. Oh, wait, are we on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's such a tell with Trump. If he starts to say, well, we're the greatest country, we're doing better than ever, those kind of like big conditional statements that also aren't true, he's trapped. And those are his little ways of getting out.
The exact same thing about Epstein. When they
yes,
just
exactly.
asked him about, he was like, we got Texas. He goes, we got Texas. We got other stuff. And
it's a huge, it's a poker face. I did think Pete Hegseth, whoever wrote that, Julia, of course, he did not look comfortable. You can always tell people around Trump when they're not comfortable, when he starts rambling on about superlatives about this country. So listen, Trump, as you said in this intro, he's a 1980s businessman. He was from sales to stocks to real estate and became the biggest mogul in the world, right? In New York, at least. To not get the deals done, to have the other side know what your poker face is, read it, call it, your bluff is out. It's not a good look for him. He is the business president. So I just wanted to take that. He's not just any president. He's the deal president. He's the apprentice. Money, 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 money. So talk to me. I just think this is a bad look. I wish Democrats would jump on this.
They don't jump on anything. That's why they're the Washington Generals.
They
say what James Carville always says, oh, he'll punch himself out. I'm like, that's not how you handle things.
That's not.
If there was somebody in your retail store and you were the manager and they're like, there's a guy punching people, he's gonna get tired. Like, no, you go fix it. Just let it play out, guys. I
don't get it.
Tory, I think it's pretty easy to get. He thinks of things very simply. And I think the way that they initially attempted to do the tariffs were so ridiculous. Everybody's like, well, they can't, we're going to bring everybody to the table and make them do what we want. And I think that they slowly started to realize, like, in the last couple of years, and I'm going to make a weird analogy here, but it's almost like in 1992, the United States had the dream team, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, all the greats were on that, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. and they went overseas and played these other countries, and they were literally clips of guys guarding NBA players saying, take a picture, because they just want to tell people to, and they would beat other teams by almost 100 points. Fast forward to this last Olympics. We won, but it was close.
But barely.
We barely. And what happened? Over the course of those years, other countries started to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already had Trump 1.0. So every other country was then put on notice. Yeah. They were put on notice like, oh, there's some potential. Like when your mom used to be like, hey, don't go to her house. She can come over here. But like her parents, I saw some things being thrown. So they know like the U.S. is potentially crazy. So they've already had a head start on like, let's just talk to this country in case something goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And so that took away the leverage that we've always had. It's like,
agreed.
The greatest economy in the world. You got to come here. And other people were like, we'd like to, but if you're going to be crazy, we just won't. And that's why Trump was like, you know, we talked to all of them. He didn't say in 90 days we'll have talked to all of them.
Yeah, there wasn't going to be a letter in 90 days.
Yeah. Way to kind of play around that.
Yeah, but that's what he does with language. It's the same with the Sharpie. He just, if it doesn't go his way, he'll lie. And what I don't understand is why, and if anyone is pro-Trump or even someone who's like in MAGA world, why they continue to trust, why they continue to think he's better than the other countries. Like, I guess what I don't understand is his tell is so bad. It's like if I did this with playing poker with you, every time I had a good poker hand, I was like this. Like it's not even
shaking your hands. Woo, it's a good hand.
Like it's such a bad tell, even. Like there were so many other people that could have handled this better. So I don't know. I just think the tariff is a schmeriff. You know what I'm saying? Schmeriff.
He gets to get away with everything.
Oh, he's Teflon. He's Teflon Don to the max. But no one else will get away with it. No one else. Not one Republican. Right. Not one, but he does. And he's like, beautiful country.
I don't understand why his base doesn't hold him to task. Because
I don't get it. I never will.
His base was like, I don't care if you don't allow there to be running water in blue states.
Right.
In red states, make it right. He goes right after red states with tariffs.
Agreed.
Right after red states going after their workers. Right after red states with the big beautiful bill. Every time I say that, I'm like, that's the last time I'm ever going to say it. And they say nothing. They just take it.
No, and also they think that he's actually looking out for them. You think the guy that sits on the golden toilet and takes a whatever is thinking about the farmer, is thinking about you, is thinking about the poor people. You really think he cares about you? He doesn't care about anyone. He's a narcissist. Moving on.
All right, moving on. And we're going to go to, let's do a fun one we haven't done in a while. Let's do this.
That's good.
All right. Moving on. Tory, do Democrats have a man problem? I like to say, let me hear you say it. Man problem.
Do they have a man problem?
All right. Now, Tory, what do you take that to mean?
So at first I thought like they need more men, like they didn't have the right men. They had Chuck Schumer and no one else. But I think it's what it is that men are feeling the pain, right, of being in the Democratic Party, and they feel blamed for a lot of things. And the Democrats is that what it is?
It's to that extent. Basically, if you think about the way the two sides kind of started splitting streams when it came to the Me Too situation.
Yeah, I was going to say it goes back to that. Yeah.
Right. Me Too has undergirded a lot of the things that have happened in our society where we're like, why are there people acting like that? Me Too affected, because I think people saw it as just like a win for women all around. And maybe initially it was, but I think the Amber Heard backlash and vitriol we saw, you do see a lot of pushback. And I think where there is truth is we're in a generation where there are a lot of young men that are lonely, that are online, that are being given difficult signals. I think when we were growing up, you would watch Indiana Jones, right? And at the end, he like swings on a rope. A big boulder almost hits
Have
him.
you seen?
No, not really. And then they make it through the waterfall and they get a chance to take a breath. And she looks at him and he looks at her and he takes the back of her neck and he kisses her. And then he stands her back up and doffs his hat. And that's what was called the man. Now that's considered sexual assault. Just grabbing a woman to the back of her head looks crazy. The idea of mistletoe is insane. Oh, your wife is. I just went in her mouth. She's standing right under there. Like
I went in her mouth. That's so
right? Like, I'm sorry. Don't hang it up then. I mean, I think it was a lot more black and white what our society, for better or worse, deemed was a man and the privileges that a man had. And, just a little woman waiting. I'm waiting for him to make a move. And now that's not so. It's nuanced. And a lot of people don't want nuances, especially if you don't really know how to interact with women normally anyway.
I gotta be honest. I kind of feel like so first of all, this came from an op-ed, you guys. The language of toxic masculinity, the word patriarchy, mansplaining. It's like the political left is not appealing to men who are struggling to find their feet because they want to feel strong and they don't want to feel blamed and all of that. I gotta be honest. I don't know. Barack Obama is like one of our biggest Democrats. He's like the most manly man I can think of. I think
Apparently you never heard of the Liver King.
I don't know. I think that I somehow feel like the Me Too movement was supposed to be for women, or supposed to be, for people that felt assaulted in the world in that way, but mostly women. And like men somehow have like usurped it and been like, but now I feel bad again. And I'm like, wah, wah. And I'm like, okay, but like, I don't know. I don't kind of care that men are feeling bad that we say the patriarchy and they feel bad that we say mansplaining. That is what's happening. We are run.
You care on election day, Tory.
Yeah, I know. But it's just that the patriarchy is real and we've had only male presidents for a reason. There's way more male CEOs named John than women CEOs of all kinds. So I got to be honest, like, I don't care that you feel a little offended about this. I don't care. Be an ally. That's what a man is. Stand up for me. Stand up for women who have had problems since the beginning of time and only now we're getting our shot. So it's like, want to me a little bit. And Lee now is with me. Except for Al and every other male in this chat, says Shelly. Agreed.
I'm not against you. I'm just saying that we're looking at this through the eyes of people that have seen life, been around the world a little bit, and kind of seen, what happens with toxic masculine behavior and how that can affect the workplace, affect relationships. But if you're a young person, you've only been on this planet since you were born in 2004. You're trying to figure it out, boo. And I think you're getting all these mixed messages.
But why can't the message be stand up for women right now? Like right now, we're in the spotlight because we've had it so hard and we finally got our voice spoken. Why does it have to be let's cater to the man's feelings when we've never catered to the female feeling? I just don't get why we're talking about the patriarchy and we're still talking about men.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's so male focused.
It sucks. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody that identifies as a Democrat or a progressive feel the way you do, but that doesn't change the math of the situation we're talking about. And that's that disaffected younger white guys voting age, 18 to 29, 18 to 33, feel attacked. Doesn't mean that they are, but there's a reason that Joe Rogan has their ear. There's a reason that Andrew Tate has their ear. There's a reason that all of these guys, yes, and listen, but they're not, people aren't holding them down and making them listen to those podcasts. People, they are going towards those podcasts because those podcasts are telling them something that they want to hear, that the way you feel is right.
I know, but sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, please.
Well, it's just that men always will have those podcasts. I mean, there will always be someone in the echo chamber being like, you're not being told that you're good enough for men. But it's like just what Julia said. We just want men to be like more empathetic towards women. Women are now graduating more in grad schools than men. We are going to be more doctors, more lawyers, more CEOs, hopefully more politicians. And like, we're still on the Joe Rogan, like, I'm a caveman and I need my fire. And it's like, I just think we should move. I think this op-ed tells me that the patriarchy is just as strong as it was. That's what it tells me. And if you are a man, and I get it, and you don't feel like you're part of the problem, like you're young and you want to be part of the Democratic Party, then wise up and understand that a real man in this world understands that women's issues are at the forefront right now. That's where our timeline is. And you should focus on that because Roe v. Wade was just overturned. So that's what a Democratic male is to me. That's Obama. That's what I think of. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm interested to see how this plays out, and I think also our definition of what is a man, will continue to change because you keep mentioning Obama. I'm sure you think like George Clooney or Brad Pitt, somebody that's masculine but also seems refined. There's a reason. I brought him up earlier, but the Liver King, who's this weird YouTuber who got really popular.
Does he sell liver?
No, he eats raw liver. He's clearly on steroids.
Oh, I know him. He eats like the rare meat.
And there's a Netflix documentary just basically saying, of course, he's on steroids, and it came out he was. And at the end of the documentary, him and his wife were laughing like, yeah, you got us. Check cleared. There is a market there that you can continue to abuse and take money from, which is young men looking for guidance. There's a lack of male influence in a lot of guys' lives. And they seek it when they look for people that you might look at as a goofy dude, but probably a UFC guy. I'm sure a lot of 20-year-old guys say he has discipline. You know, he fights with honor and he works hard. Like your Pema, maybe somebody else's Joe Rogan equivalent. Because these are the people that they look to. So, like, I don't know if we need to find somebody on the left that represents more of these, or if they'll slowly start to come over to our side. So it's something we will keep stock of. But it's disappointing, and it's something I never thought I would be dealing with. It's just like looking at these guys and being like, you can't see that there's something wrong with this person. Yeah, like fundamentally wrong, but you know. It works. All right, Tory. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about some politics.
I thought we have been.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is politics. It's more about Biden's mental acuity. I don't know how much time I want to spend on this, but I feel like we do need to discuss it. Did we deserve the truth? His doctor refused to testify. And you would be the first to say doctor patient privilege. What is that? I don't know.
Confidentiality.
Yeah, is that the Fifth Amendment? I don't know. Is that the Fifth?
There's no amendment with doctor patient privilege.
Well, there should be. Okay.
Taking the Fifth is like, I'm not going to self-incriminate myself.
So, all right. So, I mean, let's talk about this. This almost has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with like, we elected you to do a job.
Look, I'll be honest.
Do we have a right to know if you can do that?
So I'm all for.
I'll wait until whatever's in your mouth. What is happening?
I made a smoothie and like chia raspberry seeds. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I understand patient doctor confidentiality completely. I really respect that. But I also know that when you become president, you do get usually a list from your doctor that goes public about what your ailments are. Now, we also know Trump's doctor was like, he's perfect. He's amazing. So you kind of have to question it a little bit. Do I think that Joe Biden and his team, very close team, I'm talking Dr. Jill Biden and maybe one or two other people, completely lied. Lied to their closest allies, to their fundraisers, to the DNC, to the people of this country? Yeah, I do. And you know what?
Why do you think they did that?
They ruined his effing legacy. He was going to be a one-term guy. He was going to kick the punch, get Trump out, which he did. And then this is what Jake Tapper's...
Wait, did you say he was going to kick the punch? Is that a figure of speech I don't know? I'm dead serious.
No, it's not.
What were you trying to say?
Like, I'm not sure, but I want to move on because I'm going to
Okay,
forget.
keep on your thought.
He kicked the punch. No, what I'm saying is Jake Tapper has a book about this. And a lot of people got mad at Jake Tapper because he's a journalist. He might have wanted to tell us all this before the book came out for the money. But the innermost circle, yes, she's not a physician, just so you know, but she knew how bad he was, Dr. Jill Biden and his closest friends. According to Jake Tapper, and this is, I never thought this would be true of the Bidens, but they didn't want to get rid of Air Force One, the helicopter, the life that DC in politics leads you and gives you, Al. And it's very hard to let go of that White House. And so when we were on DBL and they were going to do that debate, I was the only one saying, do not do this. Do not do this. Do not do this. You will lose the election because of it. The moment he walking out like this old, I said, it's over. It's over. They lied. We could have been prepared. Kamala could have been up for it. They completely ruined the legacy. I am so frustrated that even his close advisors didn't know. So I am very, very upset. We all knew it was evident, but let me say, Julia, these closest people knew before all of this. They knew way, way before. So it's so infuriating that we as a people didn't trust us to make that choice. So it really frustrates me. What do you think, Al?
I will say this, and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I do want to give us something else to think about because it's from the other perspective. Okay, so you are the sitting president, Tory. Congratulations, first female president. Can't stop drinking smoothies, even on camera. That's why you got voted in for your second term.
I got Smoothie King. That's
right. Shout out. They funded it. There's a lot of dark Smoothie King money in your financial coffers. And so God forbid you get sick your second term in the middle of it.
With what, like cancer or
cancer, the same thing Biden has.
So like in West Wing, the plot of it is that he has MS and didn't tell anyone.
Right. But MS or cancer, you're now doing one or two things. You're telling the rest of the world in which you need to be in a position of power that you are diminished.
Agreed.
You notice when other world leaders, especially from countries that did not have a free press such as ours, it's just like they'll just be like, yes, the Ayatollah hasn't been seen on camera in 2 years.
Right.
They haven't seen Kim Jong-il in 5 years.
Right.
You don't know if he's dead or just like they weakened it because they're like, we're not telling y'all if our leader is hurt, and there's a reason for that.
But he was going up against Trump, knowingly demented in certain ways. I say that not in a mean way, in certain capacities, that he wasn't all there. They knew.
I know, but Tory,
it's not fair. By the way, I did want to bring this up. Roosevelt was in a wheelchair before people noticed it. He had braces and they pushed him up against his podium. He had polio, if you didn't know, but that didn't affect the brain. And I really feel like if you have something mentally wrong with you, there is a duty to your party, to your people, to the country that you are unable not only to have the nuclear codes, but to fight the other guy. Sorry, continue.
I agree. But what's that going to do within your party? Because there's going to be a vacuum of power and there's going to be a scramble for who's going to be the next person.
But we even had a worse scramble. Look what happened to Kamala Harris when they were like, her.
Well, that's because they waited till the last minute.
Well, that's because Biden didn't tell anyone. He bided his time.
Right. Well, he didn't want to leave. And I think that's the main part of it. It's just like once you get a bite of that forbidden fruit,
I'm telling you,
it's really hard to go back. And I think everybody's like, it's like, when somebody goes, if I ever win the lottery, if it's like $10 million, I just need $1 million to have a fun life. The $9 million is going to go to my church. And as soon as they see that bank account, they're like, I've always wanted to go to Dubai. There's always once you get the money, once you are in the White House,
right? They don't want to leave.
It's a very human thing to want to stay.
That's what Jake Tapper says happened. Now, I do want to say Reagan. Amy brings up a great point just to close this off. Reagan was famously in late stage of, or let's not just say late, but some stages of Alzheimer's.
Pretty late to
presidency. Yeah. And there was also times I did a very long term paper on the Iran-Contra affair with Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. There were times when Reagan was in anesthesia and no one was taking the 25th and stepping up below him. So there was like weird things with Reagan, and I hope we learned our lesson, but I don't think we have.
Well, I don't think that we have either. I think that, I think with Reagan, he benefited from not being around the age of social media, and also being in the age where like you could tell a White House reporter like, don't report that.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast from an old NBA guy that played in the 80s, and he said in the early days, the beat reporters used to travel with you.
Yeah.
So they get drunk with you, they'd see you hitting on chicks. And now, like, there would be 50 articles. Is the point guard problematic?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there's not that trust, which I think is probably better for the best.
Yeah.
To have a separation of the people covering their targets. Yeah.
And that's why we needed to hear more about Biden. I do think this is true. Julia says, finally, that's why it's so difficult to get rid of the OGs in Congress. You're totally right. I live in DC. They get free dinners. They get lobbied. They get great insurance. It's just such a plush position. So I agree.
And also, just the final, take it to our own lives. When we start having to tell grandma and grandpa, and eventually somebody have to tell us, hey, Big Daddy, I don't think that you can get under that car and, fix them anymore. I think, you unscrewed something and forgot to put it back. I'm worried about you using the jack. How do you think that conversation is going to go when you're 20 and you're telling a guy that was doing this 40 years before you were born, he can't do it anymore?
Yeah, but it took George Clooney. It wrote that article to say, we are not with you. And apparently Schumer went over there and he said, you have no way to win. You need to stop this. But
Rocky's wife said the same thing. And then he went and he won.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. All right. All right. Moving on. We are going to talk a little Elon Musk, my least favorite person.
Why are we doing these things with this?
Well, because he has a chat bot, Tory, because he has, of all the satellites in the world, he has more than 50% of them. Because unfortunately, this is what happens when you have billionaires. A guy like this that has a lot of personal demons, we have to tolerate and we have to talk about. I don't want to talk about him, but we have to. More specifically, Tory, we're going to talk about a chat bot. I don't even know what a chat bot is, but basically it's Grok. It's their AI chat bot on X. And you're going to be surprised, Tory. Not as progressive as I thought it would be. I was thinking like progressive women's group, University of Stanford kind of vibes coming out of the Grok chatbot, but you'll be surprised to know that it was anti-Semitic, hate-filled nonsense in response to user prompts. It was so bad that X deleted the post, and then the CEO of X stepped down. Do you know how bad it is to not even sleep on it? There's a lot of times you were like about to quit, and then when you're like, I'm done right now. Do you understand what that chatbot did?
So not only did the chatbot praise Hitler, he suggested people with Jewish surnames were more likely to spread online hate and said a Holocaust-like response to hatred against white people would be, quote, effective.
Well, not absolving the AI, but it's just spouting back what information you put in it. Like, these are not autonomous beings that have walked around and become racist and anti-Semitic. Somebody put that information in there, uploading millions of documents, millions of tweets, millions of YouTube videos. And so this thing could start to generate answers. And that's how much it's like there was so much. It's like if you were like, I'm just not going to take my garbage out. I'm really lazy. Eventually, there's so much garbage. It starts coming through the walls. It's just so much racism and anti-Semitism in his AI bots that if you ask it anything, racism is coming out because that's all that's in there.
It's also really weird because Elon, do I need to remind people, to me, as a Jewish proud woman, gave 2 Nazi salutes after the Trump win.
People don't even talk about that anymore.
In front of everybody. And like, there was
it was a my heart goes out to you. Do you remember that excuse?
Yeah, it was. So I just think it's odd to me that like people are kind of moving on over Elon's Nazi-ish past. I think Elon is a fascinating character in history. As a Jew, I'm terrified of him. I am not trying to make this like laughable, but does anyone else think this is ridiculous that his AI went anti-Semitic when we just saw him give a Heil Hitler twice on camera? So I'm not surprised.
I will say this. Here's the good part of stories like this, Tory, because every like 3 or 4 months I'll forget and I'll be like, I used to really like Twitter. Maybe it's calmed down a little bit. And then this story comes out, I'm like, oh, great. It's just like I think about how many people use Twitter for work. How many people use Twitter for things like we just saw with the floods, tornadoes, hurricanes. I would check Twitter all the time and they'd be like, hey, this gas station has gas. When I lived in Florida, like it was useful, it's funny. And this is what happens when we allow 6 guys to have everything. Zuckerberg has Instagram and Facebook. Bezos has Amazon
and the Washington Post.
And Elon has a ton of money and another entire platform to just spew whatever, to change the algorithm so you see what you want him to see. And it's like, this is why we didn't want monopolies and stuff. What's that amendment, Tory? Where's that at?
That's Anti-Sherman Trust Act. It's an act, in fact, and Amazon has been up against that act almost every year. People sue Google, people sue Amazon because it is a monopoly. But I mean, you're right. The problem is when a concentration of power also has its roots in racism and white supremacy. That's an issue. That's a problem, because that comes down into our zeitgeist in things like this. The rise of anti-Semitism in every email I'm getting from my synagogue to my schooling, from everything, it's out of control. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? I mean, I think other countries are looking at us being like, they're just going backwards. I think they're just going backwards.
Well, I mean, whether it's going backwards, I think countries are looking at us as they should right now, that we're a non-serious country.
Yeah.
A non-serious country says we're going to get 90 trade deals done and they get 2. A non-serious country has Elon Musk tripping balls in the Oval Office with a black eye.
Totally agree.
It has
chaos.
It has Pam Bondi standing in front of everybody saying, you know what? Epstein didn't have one client. And I'm going to shut this binder right now. And they're like, well, what are all those papers? Nothing.
They're not there.
They're nothing. And so like there's nothing that we present that appears to be serious.
Right.
Our tariff deals are poorly thought out or non-existent. And it's just making other countries back away. And it's lowered our expectations to the point where Elon Musk was still able to fire not half, but a large portion of our federal government workforce after doing 2 Zig Heils.
Yeah, and Republicans allowed it.
If you did that at Wendy's,
I know.
If you did that on Snapchat and you worked at Wendy's, you would not serve one more fry.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And people were like, "Yay!" Yeah, I agree with you.
Tory,
Let's do something fun. Is there a burning question?
I have hold on. We need to do you know what? Tory, I just thought about this now, even though it happened this weekend. I did 3 shows in Cincinnati.
Awesome.
Had just a really beautiful time just talking with the audience, because there's a point where like there's a connection. It doesn't happen all the time. But I was doing my Girl Scout joke, and this black woman wasn't front of the stage, but she was 1 row back, and I'm just staring at her, and she's like this. And I go, "Oh, what's going on? I can see you." And she goes, "My daughter is
a Girl Scout."
And I go, "Is anything I'm saying untrue?" And she goes, "No." And I go, "How many?"
Yeah, keep going.
I go, "How many boxes of cookies has your daughter sold?" Take a guess, Tory.
100?
600. Oh my God. 1 girl in Ohio. 600.
And did you say, where's the money?
Yes, but before that, I was like, I turned to the audience. I was like, how many of y'all have sold 600 of anything in your entire life, including French fries? That's a lot. 600, Tory. At what, $15 a box?
No, I think it's maybe 15. That's
10, 15?
yeah. That's
Let's
$6
make
grand. That's $6 grand.
That's one girl in one troop in
One troop.
outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. These people are raking in an S ton of money. I think first of all, we'll all know because I'm eventually going to be a whistleblower, and then I'll eventually have a car accident.
There's not like a mob of the Girl Scouts. He thinks, you guys, if you don't know, he doesn't know. The joke is so good, but it's very good. But the basis is, where do the Girl Scouts, where is the money? Where does the money go?
Where is
Dove il argento? Non posso trovarlo. We can't find the money.
But yeah, it's just like this weird thing. And remember, we did that story a little while ago where they raised the premiums to be a Girl Scout. It's like, what is happening? They're like, no, you need to pay a little bit more to sell for us, boo. All right, we'll decide.
You think it's child labor?
It is. Are they? I don't see any 18-year-old Girl Scouts.
Okay. I'm maybe learning a lot about how to be an entrepreneur at that age. I'm learning how to get some drive, some ambition. I'm learning how to make money, how to sell. I'm learning how to have door-to-door conversations. That's big for a woman. I think that's great. What about that?
Well, then why can't every other company hire young girls? You would lose your mind. Shelly, me, Michael Dean would lose our mind if you opened the door and there were two little girls out there and like, we're selling hammers for Sears. Oh, we're going door to door. Only that one company, not even all cookie companies, just one can use little, because no one can say no to little girls.
Oh my God.
It's a weird thing.
All right.
I'm fascinated. So I just wanted to hit you with that 600.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I agree.
All right. Now, Tory, we are at 57. I will get to, I don't want to do any more serious stories, but I want to tell Michael Dean that I have a question I wanted to ask you. I'm going to come up with a cool title and a banner later. It's kind of like unpopular opinions, but it's things that I think. Okay. It's Al's unpopular opinions. Okay. So I'm gonna have a whole banner for this next show.
Okay. Right, so it's what Al's thinking right now.
No, right? That's not. I just told you it's not what I'm thinking. It's what I wonder if you think is unpopular. I need to work with the name. It doesn't really roll up.
Not great. Okay, go ahead.
Not good. All right. So Tory.
Yes.
Any display of public affection, mass public affection, is embarrassing. I'm talking about asking somebody to marry you on the Jumbotron.
That's awesome.
Doing some kind of, hiring a bunch of dancers at a restaurant to reenact something before you propose. Is that embarrassing or is that romantic?
Okay. I don't know if I would like it for me, but I totally am like this when it's happening to someone else. So like, I'm all for it. I don't mind it at all. Not unpopular for me.
Is there something? First of all, Michael Dean, I love the title. I just think whenever I see like a Jumbotron proposal, I think coercion.
I know you always say this.
I think coercion. So like, I just think like I just like things to be private, and I feel weird when like I'm pushed into somebody else's love. All right.
I know. Should I give you a fact of the day?
Yes, give me a fact today before we get out of here.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, hold on. Let me play the thing.
Okay.
I forgot because let's be honest, the other one stunk yesterday. Here we go.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay. There is only one food that does not spoil.
One food that does not spoil.
In fact, Archaeologists have found this food and they could still eat it to this day.
Honey.
Well, you read what Michael Dean said.
I really didn't. I swear to God.
Oh, I believe you.
Where did you write that?
It is honey. Honey does not spoil. That's right, Brandon. So, you were guessing? So it's very interesting. Archaeologists have found honey, which was almost like the nectar of the gods, in tombs. And you could still eat that honey to this day.
Wasn't wine the nectar of the gods?
No, wine was just diet. I mean, I guess, but like.
But no, you know it was.
No, I don't think it was.
How many Greek
I think honey was the
tragedies do you read that involve honey?
No, honey was very important and very hard to get. Oh, someone said Girl Scout cookies.
I would still eat them.
I know.
I still love Girl Scout cookies.
I do
I'm
too.
down with the Girl Scouts. I'm just following the money. All right, Tori, do you have one more fact or is that it?
I have one more. Okay. A crocodile cannot stick out its tongue.
Tori, one more?
Okay. I got one more here. I got one more. Hold on. Oh no. Here we go. A snail. Oh, I got one. All polar bears are one thing. Do you want to guess?
Hungry? Male.
No. How would they have baby polar bears?
I don't know. As soon as I said that, I was like, that's not great.
No. All polar bears are left-handed.
Okay. I don't know if we could fact check that, but that's what we're going to go out on. I think that's right. I mean, that's interesting.
I mean, that's really interesting. I don't know, Michael Dean, but I read it, and so I believe it. So
did I tell you all my kids are left-handed? And I'm not?
All your kids?
Yes. Isn't that interesting?
Wow. No, that is interesting. Maybe it's when researchers wave to polar bears, they all wave back with the left hand.
All right. And that's going to do it. Colleagues, we love y'all. And I guess, wait, what's today? Thursday? Wednesday?
I know they don't have hands, they have paws. They're left paw dominant.
Thank you, Tori. I want this to get into a nasty discourse online. Oh, you don't think they're left-handed? Well, come see me. Meet me here. You drop a pin to where to fight you behind this target, 4:30. Please don't be bigger than me.
Don't hit the face.
Yes. All right. So, Tori, wait, today's Wednesday?
Today is Wednesday.
Okay. So we'll see y'all back here tomorrow.
Mañana.
All right. We love y'all. Tori, anything to say to the people?
Just make sure that you give yourself some self-compassion, and everyone's facing an uphill battle you know nothing about. So be kind.
My words exactly. Love you, colleagues. We out.